Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at another amazing team for the single type cup. This team went super well for me. I don't know the exact record, but we're going to see it anyway today because every game that I played is in today's video. As we're going to have a team here around Umbreon. And as you can see here already, Umbreon has a lot of play in this current meta, as there are a lot of Cofagrigus around and they just don't like it, as you see already. But we're going to run a special moveset on this Pokemon because we're running today the move Psychic. Are we able to hit a Psychic onto a fighting type Pokemon? We will find out shortly. But here, for example, I made a mistake in this battle, as you saw already. I swapped immediately into my Umbreon. This is something that you have to keep in mind. I played those battles at night, which I shouldn't have done, to be fair. But if you face someone that swaps a Cofagrigus into you, you can get a ton of energy first with your Ninetales, because Cofagrigus doesn't have a move that can hit the Umbreon. So you can just basically sponge all the energy that the opponent maybe gains against you onto your Umbreon. As you can see here right now, I overfarm by way too much. So if I went and stayed in a little bit longer with my Ninetales, I would have been able to get more energy, would have had a better matchup in general. But at this point in time, it doesn't really matter too much here, because the opponent going to have a Florges in the back and basically has now a double weakness against Fire-type Pokemon. Generally, Fire-type Pokemon are underrated in this meta. This Ninetales did so much work. It was honestly most likely the MVP of this team here, because like there was next to nothing that really can resist it. But you still have to play a little bit differently, sometimes depending on which elite you're going to encounter. I'm going to talk a little bit about this during this video as well. As we I think now in this third game, and we already won 2 of them. Now let's take a look at the third game here as well. We're going to see a Snarl variant of Granbull. Again, something that I actually like to see in general, like I like to use it myself. But that's going to be a little bit tricky, as the opponent going to shield as well. We're going to see the Ninetales coming in, but we're going to have our Dragonair. Dragonair going to be a hard wall for Ninetales, and also Dragonair going to be able to get to the charge moves fairly fast. And if the opponent doesn't throw immediately when they get to the next charge move with their Grand Ball, they're going to have to get hit by a Body Slam. And this is amazing, because it forces a shield from the opponent and also going to put them into a range where I can easily farm them down. I'm going to use my shield on my Ninetales now. But now I have a Ninetales with some extra energy here. And Ninetales with extra energy in this meta going to be insanely strong, as we're going to have access to the move Overheat. And what's up, Registeel? Goodbye there. This Overheat going to easily one-shot the Registeel, and this game is over at this point of time. So, good game there. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We are currently, I think, 3-4-3. So, let's see. We're going to have a Cofagrigus against us here right now. This is something I wanted to say as well. Cofagrigus against Elite is a fairly neutral one. I think you're going to be able to win this in the 2-shield scenario. But this is kinda an ABB style team. It is not really an ABB style team, but you have a common weakness of your backline, which is Fairy-type Pokemon. And there are a lot of Fairy-type Pokemon. So you cannot give away your alone Ninetales early on. You have to try to bait out a potential Fairy, a potential Charmer before with your Dragonair. Otherwise, you're going to have some trouble later on dealing with that one. But like this, here we're going to be able to shield up the opponent's Vigoroth. We are a shield down. This is not really looking too good for us, right? It's going to be a little bit tricky. We're going to see what they're going to have in the back. It's going to be, again, the Cofagrigus. And in comes the Medicham. Usually a very good matchup for the Medicham. But let's take a look at this one. Do they know about it? Nope, they did not know about it. And the Psychic is going to get them into a range where I can farm them all the way down. They have the cross chop stored now, but they're going to go down from the fast move, and now another charge move approaches. Going to be able to get the shield from the opponent, and we have another charge move stored onto our Ninetales. And look at this. Psychic came in clutch, knocked out the opponent's Medicham. And honestly, that's just so insane. I wouldn't have been able to win this with like last resort there. Psychic really came in clutch. One core breaker would be Hexorus, but luckily my opponent is running Dragon Tail, which I find interesting. It's not a bad shout, to be fair, but here at least, I guess against my team, counter would have been a little bit better. But of course, yeah, I think and generally, maybe actually Dragon Tail might be better. Not sure. But here we're going to see now the Mach going for one Thunder Punch. They're gonna do a ton of damage here. I kinda just want to farm them all the way down, because I need some energy against the opponent's Hexorus here. I kinda want to get the shields on the opponent. I know that they still need one more Dragon Tail here, so I'm gonna go ahead and go for one foul play. I'm at 100 energy anyway, and I go for another fast move here, because I know I lose the MP anyway. So no point of me going for my charge move straight away. I can keep the energy here and swap out into my Ninetales, get an energy boost here and like a little bit more energy than before, and I will be able to go ahead and go for one Weather Ball against the opponent's Grimer here, which will get the final shield by the opponent, allowing me to use a shield against the incoming Mud Bomb, which would have easily knocked us out. And again, Ninetales is coming in clutch here. This Pokemon is insanely strong, as this Weather Ball gonna put them into a range where I can farm them down and win this game pretty easily. So, good game there. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to have here the Ninetales against the Cofagrigus. Again, same play. You're going to swap out into your Dragonair, because if they have a Fairy type in the back, which is kind of some good core actually with Cofagrigus, because of like Dark typing that you kind of can beat with it, which is the main weakness for Cofagrigus here right now in this meta. It definitely can be an issue, so swapping out here into the Dragonair basically allows you to realign Laydown as well if you wanted to, but here we're going to let this next move go through most likely, because you can get a ton of energy now with our Umbreon. And Umbreon with Psychic is actually even better against like those poison types as well, so if they have something like that in the back, we're going to be better off. But here we're going to be able to get a ton of energy, and now we're going to see a Ninetales approaching against us. They're going to run the fast move of Fire Spin, which is also totally fine. Both Fire Spin as well as the Ember are decent fast moves for this Pokemon. But I can now go ahead and go for another foul play against them. And I know that they shouldn't be able to go for another charge move here, or like only a Weather Ball here against me. So I can get some extra energy on my Ninetales here. We're going to see that the opponent's Ninetales goes down. Let's see what's coming in. We're going to get in here the opponent's Cofagrigus. They still get to a move. But again, if we have energy advantage on the Ninetales, there's barely a Pokemon that can take it. Oh no, that's basically a Pokemon that can take it. It's a Dragonair. Let's see how much damage it's going to do. Boom, it does a ton of damage, puts them into range for even one more foul play, but no, we can even go for another Weather Ball, and it just shows how strong the Shadow Normal Ninetales is in this meta. As you're going to see now, the next opponent, a Berserker in the lead, exactly what I want to face, as you're going to be able to get out the Shadow Grand Ball. I am sorry, opponent, this is not your day, and if they have a Shadow Grand Ball in the back, the likelihood of them having another Charmer, or like in general another Fairy type in the back, is fairly high. So I'm going to keep my Ninetales around here. I kind of just want to use both my shields against the opponent. They get the debuffs, it's totally fine for me, as I will be able to farm them all the way down. And at this point of time, the opponent decides to go into, we will find out, a Wobbuffet. I didn't think that they would have a Wobbuffet in the back, but as you can see already, I do a ton of damage with my fast move. This is the thing as well with Wobbuffet. Fast moves usually do a little bit more than charge moves against them. So here I was able to get a ton of energy first, and now I will be able to go for the awkward tail spam against the opponent's Berserker. And I made a huge mistake, because the opponent going to be able to go for the charge move here, and I thought that I still had a shield left, which I didn't, and I lose CMP here. And one close combat sadly going to knock us not out. It doesn't knock us out. We can still go for another charge move here. And now we have an Umbreon against a Wobbuffet, and we can say goodbye to the Wobbuffet here, because there is literally not a single thing that they can do in order to win this game. And this is going to be it for this one for sure, because here you see already the damage output that I do against them is insane, while compared to what they do with a counter, it is just not really there. You see also a ton of lag here, by the way, like some weird animations that just like, yeah, reconnection coming up as well. It's just the game that we play right now. Very nice lead for me. The lead is definitely something that we have to align. Again, I should have stayed in a little bit longer, get some energy, but the opponent forfeited anyway, so good game there. Next opponent, and again, a very nice lead for me. We're going to have the Grand Bull. Now in comes a Lickitung. I just want to get some damage onto them, so the matchup for my Umbreon going to be a little bit easier. So I'm going to swap out now immediately into my Umbreon, and now they should be in range for like 2 foul plays, which is going to be very nice for me, as I now can kind of avoid anything here. Like the lick damage doesn't do any damage against me, Body Slam is stab, but you see already it doesn't really do too much, and we see now the foul play going to go through, do enough damage to two-shot them most likely, and they can even go for another foul play here before they even get to the switch out. I think they want to swap out here, but now I can knock them out. They waste all their energy, the Grand Ball comes back in, we can go for the Psychic here, and we can realign, and this is like the main point here. We have to try to realign, as you're going to see the opponent going into their Grimer, and Grimer we can deal with. Grimer we are definitely fine with, as our Dragonair is gonna get them super low already, and I'm just gonna go ahead, shield up once, go for a Body Slam here. And I'm not going to shield up again, and the opponent going to definitely have a tricky time here, as they're going to actually let this move go through as well. At this point of time, they can use their 2 shields all they want, because I can just farm them all the way down, and this is going to be a good game. Let's take a look at the next opponent. A Dragonair lead, horrific lead for us. Let's see what we can do here. We can swap into our own Dragonair, and we're gonna lose this matchup sadly. But at least we're going to be able to get a ton of energy onto our Ninetales now, which is going to be the thing that I'm going to go for most likely, because I can farm them all the way down before they can go for another charge move. And in comes now a Ninetales. This is a horrific matchup for us. We are really in a bad spot right now. I'm going to shield up the Weather Wall here. Didn't have to do it, but I feel like they have something weak against fire in the bag. So I'm going to go for the overheat and do a ton of damage against the opponent. It's super important, especially as I'm going to be able to catch a charge move from the opponent here, which is even more important, as you're going to see right now, as they're going to have a Registeel in the back. And this is so good for me right now. I mean, not that they have Registeel in the back is good for me, but that I'm going to be able to still survive a Focus Blast here, that I still have my Ninetales around, and that my Ninetales has a ton of energy stored already. And at one point the opponent is forced to A, throw against me, and B, shield against me, which you can see here right now. And I should have a pretty decent time now with my Ninetales. This is all the health that I really need on the opponent. It's basically Weather Ball plus some Ember range, which is really nice to see, as I can go straight for my Weather Ball. They never really expect that I do that. But now I have to be careful that they don't catch, so I overfarm by quite a lot. And I will be able to now win this game as the opponent going to decide to forfeit. Let's take a look at the next opponent. Next opponent has also the Dragonair in the lead. But in comes now no, they don't go into anything. We're going to see that they're going to go for another charge move here, which is fine. Body Slam going to knock me out. I can do basically exactly the same here. And I think this is going to be a Cofagrigus coming in. Not ideal for me, especially as I have a very good answer in the back here. I'm going to use a shield just because I hope that I can get rid of the time a little bit and try to go for another Weather Ball here, just to stall the time a little bit so I can maybe swap out soon. But in comes now another Weather Ball because the opponent didn't let me stall. I guess I maybe expected the Umbreon in the back. Could have been a very decent call by the opponent here, but let's see what they're going to have in the back. It's going to be a Vigoroth. And at this point of time, this game is over. There's not a lot that I can do. I was able to catch a move here, but counter is just adding up. They have a shield advantage. There is nothing that I really can do here, to be fair. I can try to overfarm by a little bit. They're gonna go into the Dragonair. I actually thought that the Dragonair was way weaker already, and I would have been into farm down range for the Umbreon, which it definitely wasn't. And there's not a lot that I can do. This is, I think, the only game that I lost with this team. Not 100% sure about this, but it is sadly just kind of a hard wall. We had a hard wall in the lead. They were able to realign their Pokemon, and there's not a lot that I can do about this. I'm going to let this move go through as well, I think, because they have definitely enough energy here. And this is going to be a good game, but again, that was kind of complete hard wall. Every other game we were able to definitely come back pretty easily, but we also had a lot of fairly decent matchups for us as well, like this one here. The opponent having a Clefable in the lead, and now having another Fire type in the back here with the Ninetales. It's going to be okay for us. We're going to be able to use a shield against the opponent, Weather Ball coming through, as they used a shield against us as well. I can take a Weather Ball from this range at least, which is going to be fine for me, as this Weather Ball coming through here not going to do too much damage. And we're going to see now the Clefable coming back in. I can go for one Body Slam. That's going to do a ton of damage and gonna put them into farm down range for the Ember for sure, as they're going to stay in and go for a charge move, which I can let go through. Everything is resisted other than Psychic, and they don't run Psychic here anyway. And I can go ahead and go for another charge move, and as long as they don't have another Fairy type in the bag, we should be fine here. Let's take a look at this. We're going to see a Meganium in the bag. This is going to be a good game. Our Ninetales is just sweeping. The Ninetales is just going to completely destroy the opponent. We can use just one shield here and just go for another Weather Ball and knock them out. This team, honestly, it was just so strong. Both Ninetales and Umbreon is such a good call right now in this meta. I love this meta right now as well. Like, I had so much fun playing in this meta. But let's take a look at the next game here right now. Final game for today. We're going to have an Umbreon in the lead. At least a fellow Umbreon user, right? There's going to be an interesting matchup though for sure, because Umbreon is of course a very bulky Pokemon, so it's going to be a little bit tricky, but we will find out now that we can go for the overheat, and they are going to no shield, and we're gonna get a ton of damage onto the opponent. We will see here right now that the opponent gonna go ahead and go for a foul play to get some damage onto me, and we're gonna get a Grimer into here. This is usually a very good thing to see for the Umbreon if you have Psychic in this Pokemon. This is like one of the main reasons why you also kind of want to have Psychic in this Pokemon. There are going to be a lot of more Poison type Pokemon around. There are also going to be Pokemon that try to beat this one here. And Umbreon just going to be one of the best Pokemons to use right now, because we can just go ahead, go for the foul play, and get the shield there, but usually if they had like full health or something, Psychic would do a ton of damage against Grimer. It would be definitely the better coverage move here. As you're going to see a Mug in the back, and they actually run Lick, which is kind of funny because you can then beat Cofagrigus a little bit easier, I guess. But you're still going to be fine without Lick against Cofagrigus. I would just go for Poison Jab and Dark Pulse, to be fair. But this Grimer will not be able to do anything against me. I can shield up the move, which is going to be the hardest hitting move as the opponent still has an Umbreon around. And because we don't have the last resort, Foul Play is the move to go for here. But of course, we are trolling and we're in such a decent position that I can just go ahead, go for the Psychic, double resist it, and we just still don't even knock them out. But one more fast move will be enough. So, this is going to be it for today's video. This is actually a pretty achievable team for most people, I would say. If you enjoyed this one, definitely leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. You see 2 videos on the screen right now. Check them out and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.